Hello and welcome back to the Cesspool, and welcome back to 25 Days of Christmas. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, whatever you celebrate. I truly hope it is a good one. And we are here doing something a little bit different, as it is not on the floor. It is in front of the CRT TV. And why are we here exactly? Well, saw this video by a little YouTuber called Noodle, and he made a video talking about CRT monitors and how special and interesting and unique they are compared to modern LCD displays or OLED or anything like that. And they specifically in the video mentioned obviously how pixel art is much better expressed on a CRT compared to LCD. Even though LCD screens clean it up, obviously modern displays can make pixel art look very beautiful, and modern pixel art games are designed obviously with a modern display in mind, despite, obviously being based off of games that were originally made for a CRT. So he obviously showed examples of actual classic games that would have been designed on a CRT and the design cues that they used to make those games more fluid and more shapely, and almost not even seem like pixel art, just because of the way that the actual displays that they would have been making the artwork on were displaying the artwork to them. So they had to use special techniques in order to get the right image out of it, and it created incredibly unique artwork that is not as well represented on modern displays. If you played Sonic 2 on the Genesis, this is how the waterfall would look on a CRT display. Sonic is, and he obviously showed this in the video as well. Sonic is kind of half in the water, half not in the water. He's kind of translucent, and the waterfall itself is completely like full. There's no hashes in it. It doesn't even really look like pixel art. It's just kind of almost blurred or meshed together. It's kind of like painting. And obviously when he did it on a like emulated CRT display. It wasn't obviously a real CRT, because you can't really capture CRT footage like that, like I'm doing, which is basically like they did back in the day. I did it back in the day with just a digital camera in front of a CRT in my basement when I was like very, very little. And here I am doing it again, but it's for a different experimental purpose. So on a real CRT, this is the actual effect that it gave. And in Sonic 2, that was what they intended on by creating these kind of fake lines that they knew were going to blur on original hardware. If you play Sonic 2 today, that waterfall, or Sonic Mania here on a modern display, that waterfall is not going to look like that. It's not going to be translucent. None of those waterfalls are that are on screen right now. They would all basically be a bunch of lines. Half of Sonic would be kind of obscured, half of Sonic wouldn't be, and it would be by the pixel, obviously. But it's an effect that you can only get on CRTs, or obviously like simulated CRTs or emulated ones, as is the case, in the original Noodle video. But I just thought it would be interesting to actually play a modern game that was not really designed for CRTs necessarily, but actually play it on a CRT, because that's the exact inspiration that it took from, is games designed for CRTs in the 90s. And Sonic Mania here, despite being a game that was released in the 2010s, looks fantastic. It looks like a real Genesis Sonic game, obviously just with smoother animations and more color in the palette. But other than that, it is quite literally just a Genesis Sonic game, and it's really, really impressive how faithful they were able to make it. And they obviously didn't intend for this game to actually be played on CRTs. They did have a CRT filter included in the game, but it's very impressive how well this game holds up on original hardware. And you really, really have to, and it's because of those techniques that the original designers put into the original Sonic games and original pixel art games from the 80s, 90s, and even into the early 2000s. Obviously, by the early 2000s, we were shifting to 3D games, and they were still being played on CRTs. And the interesting thing is that CRTs did not display, in my opinion at least, 3D artwork as well, because this was now the beginning of the digital age in terms of actual displays. So it created a different effect, and it didn't really work as well as pixel art did on CRTs, because that is it's a different art medium at the end of the day. One is 3D modeling, and one is more akin to hand-drawn art. And I do think it's very interesting to see how these games actually play. And that's the case with all these modern pixel art games. A lot of them don't actually play very well on CRTs. Sonic Mania is kind of a exception to that rule. And a lot of that just comes down to its faithfulness to the original designer's vision of the game, of the original Sonic games in the 90s. Because if you played something like, and they showed this in the Noodle video as well, if they showed, you know, Deltarune or something on screen, it doesn't look great because, you know, Toby Fox didn't design it with the idea of it being played on a CRT, despite it being inspired by stuff like Earthbound, which was obviously designed for a CRT. You know, they did all the artwork with modern, you know, displays in mind, because what are 99.9% of people going to play it on? A modern display. I highly doubt that more than, like, you know, 1,000 people have played this game on a CRT, because, like, who cares? It's cool, but it's a pain in the ass to do. Like, there's a lot of setup involved in this. So, you know, for classic games, obviously, playing on a CRT is a lot of fun. You know, playing Duck Hunt on NES on a CRT, that's the only way to really play that game. Or the original Super Mario Brothers, or, you know, the Super Nintendo, Super Mario World, or any of the classics. Yeah, of course, play it on a CRT. But honestly, just for this little awesome water effect, as cool as it is, and as cool as all the other little CRT tricks that original designers implemented into these games, it's a lot of times not really worth it to go through all of this. But it is a very, very cool little experiment to run. And that's pretty much it here, honestly. You know, I'm kind of just talking about CRTs, going over while playing Sonic Mania, a game which was designed and made far after the CRT was really discontinued. But yeah, it's interesting to actually play Sonic Mania here on a CRT and see how it runs and how it plays, and it really does look gorgeous. These displays are very unique, and unfortunately, we're never really going to see displays like this ever again, just because they're obsolete and expensive and not necessary, quite frankly. And yeah, that's just this little experiment. I just thought I'd do it. Because I saw that video by Noodle and I thought it was interesting, so I was like, oh, well, let me see if I can actually get this to work on a CRT. And lo and behold, all the things he said are true. These displays for these classic 2D games, despite this game being more of a love letter to those games, it uses all the original design cues, and with that, creates a very, very authentic experience. So, yeah, that's kind of it. Maybe I'll do more of these little experiments with modern games on CRTs, or at least ones that are inspired by the classics, to see how well they actually do on these original displays from the games that inspired them. So, yeah, I'd like to thank everybody so much for watching. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Hope whatever you celebrate, that is a good one. And I don't know when the next video will be, except I do. It is tomorrow. There goes Tails. He's gone. And I will see you guys then.